afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast news cast. And today we got some great news. It's finally time for some new balancing. It's another balanced preview mod, which of course means A, this stuff is not final. There's obviously more things going to happen. In particular, in certain areas that will become glaringly obviously soon. There will be some, obvious rooms there where there's clearly things coming as well. But anyways, bunch of stuff happening here. Some good, some and some So let's start out with it. They're starting out with heavy tanks, where there's definitely been, again, always complaints about just heavy tanks being too dominant. In this case, there's serious change being going on. For starts, all recharge is now standardized to 3 minutes, and it now starts upon death of the tank, so you can't just immediately, keep it going then and sort of kill it out. So as soon as it's dead, your opponent will have some respite, and just like someone just saving up for the next heavy tank, it's going to be an even weaker strategy than before. Beyond that, pretty much most of the heavy tanks having the command point set to 11. Means Tigers, IS-2s, Pershings, and KB-2s. Additionally, the Oberkommandant variant will require all tech buildings, which seems a bit pricey and more or less puts in the same range as the King Tiger. It'll still be used more than the King Tiger because the King Tiger just isn't very good. IS-2 gets its armor loaded. It also requires all tech buildings. The difference, of course, is there's a massive difference between going for another truck and another building as the Oberkommandant and just say building either your special life command or your support company. So it's anyways like there's a significant gap there between the two. But certainly lowering the IS-2's frontal armor will help a bit. But I mean, the Surge is still a very snowbally faction, so it's not going to have a massive impact. Pershing, same stuff. Also require tech buildings. Again, not huge. Not huge. And it costs slightly more manpower, so nothing big there. I mean, again, the biggest is just going to take longer to get in. IS KB2, similar stuff there. Requires all tech buildings, no difference. 9 to 11, slows down things, and apparently now it has some slight bonuses at veteran 3, so it overall gets buffed effectively when it hits a bit slower. So yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like overall the major issue still in most cases, like either you're pushed into going for heavy tank because there's no room for anything else, or again you're just going for it because you like heavy tanks. I think really this is not going to fix the fact that again a lot of players just like going for heavy tanks because heavy tanks are just very efficient compared to like just a lot of the other stuff, which again in particular I think just boils down to it's also very easy to stall into them. You get up a pair of anti-tank guns and you can easily stall into heavy tanks. Like, I think the only way to really stop this is ultimately to make it harder to stall into them. Like, again, anti-tank guns need to be a little less efficient, I think, to make those work. Otherwise, we're just going to keep seeing it because, again, it's just get a pair of anti-tank guns, stall into your heavies, or if you're really far ahead again, just go for it nice and easy. Like, this is ultimately not going to change it. I mean, they used to cost 13 command points, and people still stall like the devil into them. Like, again, this won't change anything because, again, it's still super easy to do. You just get a pair of anti-tank guns, and most of your opponent's medium armor is not a significant threat. So, like, either they need to, like, lower the efficient anti-tank guns, or they need to provide stronger counters to the anti-tank guns that can sort of create openings when the opponent's trying to stall for the heavy. So, moving on, we got the Brits. So, of course, had rather poor performance in the tournament. They're definitely going to be initial sort of focus here. They're buffing their infantry sections. Overall sentiment suggests Tommies are too punishing to use, especially in fights where they need to maneuver. These changes are designed to make them less difficult to use in the open and on the move, while keeping their overall power level in a non-oppressive state. Additionally, in order to give the UKF an easier time to circumvent enemy static defenses, the Pyrotechnics upgrade has received an off-map smoke barrage ability in order to make the upgrade more attractive and allow for an early game smoke option for the Brits. Alrighty. Haven't always been down this way. I mean, they keep buffing their sections and they nerf them because, again, it just results in blobbing. So what are they doing this time? Lee Enfield moving accuracy from 0.35 to 0.5. Okay. Power smoke barrage, basically 25 munitions. Question is, how long does this take? Because obviously you're going to see the same thing again with rifle squads next. As the smoke, you just get a blob, chuck the smoke, and then you rush in. Target size from 0.9 to 85, and again they become harder to hit. And the Lend-Lease Regiment Assault Section upgrades now created a separate unit there with that. But already here it feels a bit like contradicting. Like they are trying to keep the overall power level in a non-oppressive state. But like again, we've been there when they're not make them less difficult to use in the open on the move. Again, you just create blobs. Like I feel like this is just creating Brit blobs again, 100% over. how about we don't go there, Relic? Like, the overall issue is not that the intersection of difficulties on the move. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be working in conjunction with the machine gun. It's the same issue with the Wehrmacht. They're supposed to work with the machine gun teams, but the machine gun teams are too awkward to use. Look at the Vickers, and by extension, look at the MG42. Make those better to work with the infantry, and I think you'll solve the issue rather than just, you know, push the sections and once we reintroduce the blobs. But anyways, enough about that. We got the assault section there. Now they're 5-man squad for 280 manpower. They're basically the assault section. They can assault grenadiers. They can be upgraded with the Thompsons, which then unlocks their phosphorus grenades. Yeah, and then of course get some bonuses there. Pretty much standard stuff. Just makes them into like the British assault grenadiers, if you will, just with white phosphorus grenades. And then you get the assault officer. Basically, he was the landing officer. Now it's been switched over to the, well, platoon command post, I guess. Yeah. You can only get 1. You can get a 5th man at eventually 2. And you got all the sort of bonuses there. Removed smoke and retreat eventually people because not commanders any longer. They now just have regular Tommies with unsighted Sten guns, so they still perform the same. Bit more expensive, and you know, hero charges based like captains on me. Hopefully it's not a mass one, because otherwise again, blobs, Relic, blobs. And certainly again, if they keep it here, this is just going to be another part of the blob. Like again, you just charge in with them and just go nuts. Again, I'm a bit worried about this. Additionally, we got the Wasp upgrade, which now increases the armor. Again, ostensibly deal with challenging garrisoned MGs, though again, we already got smoke. Also, as it happens out, this also deals with the not so challenging, well, unless of course you just want to restrain the enemy, regular machine gun out in the open. Like, I feel like this one just also is another thing that you just easily encourage blobs, in particular since, you know, the other count is going to be, you know, like going for vehicles when we try and stop this, because the Pact is going to get run over the blob and the Wasp. And again, the problem is you try and go for, say, some vehicles, you then get hit by the AC. Like, I feel like this is just creating, you know, the Mega Ultra Brit blob. Like, I can't help but feel they haven't entirely fought that one for. Again, look at the machine gun. Maybe look at, like, the Anvil. And, you know, Hammer Tactics upgrades as well. I feel like that's probably where they've been better off. Medics now available from the headquarters at 100 maiden manpower. Fair enough. Sexton and Valentine doesn't share barrages. The HQ, of course, now spans with 3 medics upon landing. Is it a separate unit, just sort of like healing, like, you know, medic banker? Hard to say there. Might want to clarify that. Retreat point available, and yeah, they don't get the medics and air landing officer from the building either, and they also start with the commando squad. So yeah, that certainly makes it a lot more attractive in a lot of ways, depending on how the medics work. Either way, it's pretty good. Certainly makes them more potent. Yeah, I mean, overall, some nice buffs to the Brits, I suppose, in theory. But again, I feel like we're just stepping right down blobby Britty lane once more. Like, stop doing that again. Look at the Vickers and Anvil Hammer Tactics. I feel like those are going to be much more productive ways to, you know, make the Brits more viable rather than just go down the same path and again get blobbed by Brits. In particular, in a way that's going to absolutely rule the Wehrmacht, because you pretty much just stomp all of the actual ways within stopping a Brit blob, because A, now they have access to smoke and a Wasp that's even harder to take out. So, yeah. Like, if they really want to go out with these changes, they're going to have to nerf the AC or something else, because otherwise, again, it's going to be hell, in particular for the Wehrmacht. Moving on. Soviets, howitzer cost slightly less population. I guess it's just been neater. They removed the reload car bonus from the semi-man conscript. Yeah, conscript performing slightly too efficient for their cost. That's a mild understatement. To put it mildly, I've had Panzer Grenadiers of Veteran 3 losing to a 7-man conscript squad at Veteran 3 at close range. That's not performing slightly too efficiently. That's like saying Brexit is a slight inconvenience for the British populace once executed. It's gonna be hell. Anyways, moving on. Airborne Guards, they're buffing those. So again, remember, Soviets had one of the highest, you know, performance rates at the tournament. They're also one of the most played factions. They're buffing the Guards Airborne. And they're buffing the Strafe as well from 60 munitions to 45 munitions. And they're now getting tactical assault similar to the paratroopers and stormtroopers, except it's getting more like the paratroopers, where they effectively the P1 is basically this shock trooper one, meaning they're kind of like assault rifles, except unlike the paratroopers, they get 6 of them. The paratroopers only get like 4, I think. There's one guy who doesn't have it. So this is going to be absolutely ridiculously powerful. And the thing is, it's not like airborne guards are bad in the first place. It's just conscripts with S5040s are also slightly too efficient for their cost. And probably is what they should be looking into. In fact, there were many in the comments on my chat when I was looking at just general sort of explanation that why didn't they look at that? No question, but an answer. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm sure it'll be neat, but they probably should look at the SVT-40 conscripts as well. Anyways, medic radius from 2025. Also sprint now counts when in combat, so just Mother Russia isn't quite the same steamroll as previously. That's nice. USF, airdrop combat group, slightly more expensive power cost, I guess. Cluster bombs, added 1 additional second delay, so there's more time to get out of it, because ours was practically instant now, in fact. And finally for the USF, you got the grenade package unlocked. Basically 150 manpower to 100. No explanation as to why. I'm not entirely sure why, particularly again when they already buffed Rock in close quarters range. It just feels like, again, it just creates more of this snowballing heavy sensation with less chance of stopping it. Again, I'd like for them to explain that one, because right now it seems a bit random. Moving on, Orbital Commanders, 7 with the medic search range. They just, search a bit longer to find stuff. Sturmtiger gets its grenade ability changed. Its state of activated usually like shoot grenade. It's now timed passive. So basically you activate the ability and then it just begins shooting grenades left, right and center. Obviously has less AoE, but of course, it shoots more of them. And you generally don't have to manage it. I'm not entirely sure this is going to make the Sturmtiger much more relevant. I mean, it'd be a great ability on other tanks, to be honest. Like maybe as part of a doctrine. Elite Armor would certainly feel a lot more elite with an ability like this instead of, say, the heat rounds. But, yeah, I don't know. Jagdtiger, slightly less fuel cost. I don't think it's going to make it terribly more relevant, but probably a bit more though. Line for gun, hot half-tech incendiary barrages. Basically, they're nerfing against emplacements. Yeah, not a fan of that one. I don't think most have to play against the Brits are a fan of that one. Fighter Megas, Panzerfaust removed, no explanation, not sure why. Just seems a bit random, like they could do it and so they did it, but it certainly doesn't seem like any rational explanation. And the 251 infrared half-tech gets nerfed apparently due to a bug, so they basically sort of switched it to like it just sees really far and does stuff like that. I guess that's fair enough. And then we come to the Wehrmacht, the other less pleasant faction and the one that performed also significantly less well at the tournament. They're nerfing they're changing the fragmentation problems. I mean, it takes a bit longer to hit. On the other hand, the plane itself reacts faster, so across the map it should still hit faster in some way. So I guess it's maybe could be a buff, but yeah, there's nothing there except they also changed the population cost of the howitzers. So basically, what does that mean? It means obviously there's more stuff coming for the Wehrmacht, because otherwise this is utterly laughable, which, let's assume they're rational human beings. So obviously there's more stuff to come for the Wehrmacht. We've seen this before, again, with other previous patches. There was basically, a big gap where, hey, where's the changes to this faction, which is clearly needed. And obviously there's probably something big coming for the Wehrmacht. Hopefully, something make Tier 4 more relevant and also make, the early game perhaps less rubbish. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly some good things, I guess. I mean, again, it's good they're trying to do more the British. The assault officer could work out, but I feel like right now they're pushing it just too much in a blow-up direction with the British. Like, that one, I think they need to ease off on. Also a bit worried about some of the other changes here and there, but, I suppose in the overall picture, it's good we're finally seeing a patch. It's good things in there, finally getting a move on. They obviously would have liked to have a more indication of what the hell's going to happen with the Wehrmacht, but hopefully we get that down the road, with future patches. Again, keep in mind, this is not finished. This is not a final patch. This is just, sort of initial stuff. There'll be more stuff added as feedback is all provided and so on there. So, I mean, let's not blow our caskets. I did that, though, in the first patch when I saw it, though, because, again, I was like, God, bloody hell. But, yeah, obviously, thinking from more rationally, obviously, more stuff is to come up. So, again, this is not final stuff. So, again, overall, some good stuff, but again, I feel like sometimes, again, like with the heavy tanks and with the British change, they're just dancing around these, which again, the heavy tanks, it's too easy to stall into them due to other factors, and with the British, it's because the Vickers is kind of a rubbish piece of crap, bit like with the MD-42. It's not necessarily in terms of the performance, but in terms of the mobility. Again, both machine guns are too awkward, too slow to move about, and that really hampers them when it's supposed to work with the infantry. So again, I'd say, look at the Vickers, HMG, look at the HMG-42, and in terms of heavy tanks, either look into lower the impact of anti-tank guns, in particular the SIS-3 Divisional Field Gun Relic, or increase ways of dealing with the anti-tank guns in more efficient manners, because otherwise, again, I feel like this is going to fix absolutely bugger all in the long run. There's still going to be absolutely heavy call and focus, because again, it's going to be super easy just to pair up a pair of anti-tank guns and just, sit down and have a cup of tea. So, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be providing more updates, of course, as more updates made to the balance preview. So hopefully you like this. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell your friends and family and all that. And of course, if you like to do and wish to see more content, you can also donate or pledge on Patreon. Links in the description. This has been Pro Links, cheers, and seeing you all another time.